Hello and welcome back to Mirror Interpretation Todorova. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Ivana and I am an interpreter and a polyglot. And today I'm going to talk about my experience with CCHI, getting a certification for the first time, CCHI Core. But before I start, if you'd like to be my member and support me, you can do it for $7.99. In return, you're going to receive videos for members only. If you are a medical interpreter Spanish-English, you can purchase my course, Cardiovascular System, Spanish-English, clicking on my platform Thinkific. Also, if you like, you can purchase my merchandise from my online store, Serotonin. And now I'm going to talk about my experience getting a certification, so-called CCHI Core, the English version, National Certification for Medical Interpreters. I'd like to clarify that I did this in 2017. So if you guys know or you don't know me, I did graduate in 2016. And soon after I moved in USA from Italy, and I very shortly after started working as a medical interpreter, and I was looking to certify. And back then, the CCHI website was kind of, I would call it, not very well organized. So I believe that the information that I'm going to share from now on is due to the fact that the website was very messy, very disorganized, and not very clear. The process was not very clear. Before I did this video, which is August of 2022, I went online and I checked once again their website, and I was pleasantly surprised because the website is renewed, and now the way they organize it, it's very clear. I believe it's very well organized right now, so you're not gonna have, at least I hope, experience that I had. I did contact the CCHI organization. I believe it was in November of 2016. Unfortunately, nobody acknowledged me. I was ignored. Nobody responded to me. I sent several emails. I tried to get in touch with them, but nobody replied to me. And this is why I decided to purchase directly the training, believing that once I purchase it, they're gonna respond to me. So on the March 17 of 2017, I did purchase the training, which is $35 of application fee, and the core exam, the written exam in English, is $175. This is what I paid. I like to let you know that right now, this same exam costs about $100 more. I believe the core exam is $275. And the so-called CCHI exam, or the language specific one, is $300 and something. So when I paid and I register on the CCHI platform, I create my profile, I paid for this exam, I received an email telling me, that was 15th, that was March. I received an email telling me that I will receive results within 2 weeks. I will tell you, it took them longer to reply. I noticed this renewing the CCHI in last year. So they're very sorry, I will use the correct word, but I'm honest, they're lazy. This is the impression that they give. The communication is bad, is redundant, and is mainly ignoring you. But I registered, I received an automatic email telling me that somebody will respond within 2 weeks. The registration was March 17. There was several emails after you register that you receive automatically. And then, I don't know if it's automatic, but it looked like an automatic email sending the study tips and the candidate handbook on March 20th. Nothing much after this. I was waiting for these 2 weeks to expire. And then on April 15, after 3 weeks, I received another email, like automatic email, telling you how to apply for this test. and there was a number for call support. No response about my application, nothing. There was no information. But I remember that I did call and it was very long wait, but I did speak with someone who was very rude. I have my notes from this call. I even remember where I was living at the time. It was very uncomfortable call. To each of my questions I was addressed with this kind of tone that you're not welcome, you're nothing. I was just very, it was a humiliating call for me on my side. I don't know if this is their approach, but back then I was thinking because they're so important and they like to treat you with humiliation because they're so important. I don't know, but I remember that it was a yucky call, you know. I didn't feel like I already paid for this class. I didn't understand this way of treating me. So for me, that was a bad experience, but the call did clarify for me some things. And they said to me that I should wait for the process, basically. No results, nothing. And then suddenly, after this call, which I believe I did in the end of April. I did the call in the end of April because I submitted my university education. I did study in multicultural, multi-language university. I have 3 master. I still have them. I have 1 in Bulgaria and 2 in Italy. So their instructions were saying back then that if you had a university, you can, or degree that you have followed professionally, you can apply and be admitted to take that test in English, right? Which was kind of confusing, and I believe that they work on that part because right now it's kind of clear. I did went on their website and I kind of check out how they structure it, and right now it's very clear that they just want you to prove that you had a foreign education for the target language. But if you do have a master degree or something in other country, is not acceptable to admit you to the test. Back then was not clear. Another thing that was not clear back then, but now I noticed that they upgrade on that, it was that they require a 40 hours of a medical interpreter training. So when I paid the test in March, I was convinced, in 2017, I was convinced that my education from my university, especially that was in an intercultural negotiation, will allow me to go and do this test for the CCHI Core. Of course, you see my ignorance now. I could see how strange was that, but based on the information that their website was providing, it was very confusing. So when I called in the end of the April, it came out that they need the 40 hours of medical interpreter training in order to allow me to access the test. Although I paid for this test $210, I couldn't attempt to take it because I didn't have the 40 hours of medical interpreter training. So I didn't want to discuss with them. I said, okay, fine, let me do it. So in May of 2017, I did this training. I don't know where is it. It's right here. Bridging the Gap, the 40 hours of a medical interpreter training, which is a very good training, and I will link the video above where I'm talking about this experience. I think it was a great training. Yes, it's $550. It's expensive. $550 for 40 hours and 60 hours was 700 something. It is expensive, but it's worthy. It's worthy every dollar. I don't regret doing this training. It was really good. So said that, I did the training, which I complete on May of 21st of May. And then I resubmit the information again, despite the 2-week official responding that they give on the email. I do have the email right here. Unfortunately, again, nothing. So May until the 29th of June, I received 1 email at 5:50 and a second email at 5:58, both of them telling me that my application is incomplete, that I am not, I don't have the qualifications to do the test, I do not qualify. The self-study is not qualifying. Even if a company trained me for all those practices, they refuse to accept the trainings that were provided to me through company called Circom. You do know I provided services for Circom for 5 or 6 years. So they are very good with training. And so if you're starting as an interpreter, I would recommend you. It's a hard company to work for, but you're gonna learn so much because they're so cruel and mean to you that you're gonna grow and become better professionals. So they also refuse. This is where they said, I can even show it to you. Let me see if there is. Okay, yes, here. They literally tell me that they do not accept the training from this organization without any explanation. No, they said to me why. Okay, let me tell you. In order to accept the training, they said to me, detailed information about the training, for example, medical terminology, managing an encounter, code of ethics, and all that, blah. Well, yes, the Circom not only train you, but they test you, but they don't want to share the results with you. So it's kind of hard to do this, and they know that they know you're gonna be obliged to purchase the paid training, even if you were obligatory trained the same thing by your company. They will oblige you to purchase one of those 40 hours of a training. This is why this company is a business, and of course the certification is a business. Unfortunately, this is how they do money. So they refused to accept the training, but they were finally clear June 29, which is again this is in information, a little bit confusing. 2 emails telling me that my application isn't complete, and one email at 8 a.m. telling me, congratulations, you meet our eligibility and you can schedule your test. As you can see, I sent the confirmation of my results on May 21st, and it took them 5 weeks. May 21st to June 29, it's about 5 weeks to reply. Very, very redundant. And I have already paid for the test, just you know. So from the moment that I received that, it was another odyssey to discover how to do the test. Thanks goodness, right now their website is well organized. I just checked it and I was pleasantly surprised this morning because now it's well structured. It's not like all this messy, because in 2017 they keep sending you this book, healthcare. They will send you this book and that's it. Now it's very easy and well organized on the website. So you could see now that once they accept your application, you can schedule the test, which is now it's very well organized. Back then it was not so well organized, so it took some time for me to understand how. But from the moment that I paid the test, March 17, and the moment that I receive this notice of scheduling, so I sent my confirmation of 40 hours training in May 21st. In July, first week of July, I received email to schedule. So you could see it's even longer than 5 weeks. The way maybe I was not sympathetic to them, that's why they are not responding to me. I don't know, but it took them so long to send me this notice to schedule the test. So, and it was a link. I did check this link this morning, but it's not working anymore. But it's an email called notice to schedule the exam. And this was another big mess there, because they send you to schedule your test on Comira testing centers. So these testing centers are usually busy. It's another website that you have to go and you have to register to the testing center, and they have thousands of tests. You have to dig there and find the name of your test and an ID number, and then you have to schedule it. Not also, but you have to submit documentation proving that you have paid for it. Not very, very funny, I would say. I remember it was a headache, But anyway, I was able to find, not only, but you have to find a center in your state and see if you can drive. You know, it was a big mess, but I find a center in downtown Denver. It's called Comira Testing Center, and I was able, not only you find the center, but you have to find a free opening, because the test is hour and 120 minutes, which is 2 hours. The test is 2 hours. I'm talking about the English version of the test. So the Comira Testing Center is separate from the CCHI. They're just the body that provide the testing equipment. In this case, the testing cabinets that are isolated and the computers on which you're gonna sit and take the test. So they have a lot of professionals going there to test for different things for work. So you have to find a free testing date and time. And for me, although it was August, I find in October 27th. So I find the testing after 2 months and a half. I find an opening to have a computer to sit and do the test. So, and this testing in downtown is done in a community college of Denver. Is one of the centers there. Let's talk a little bit about the test experience itself. So the test is 2 hours, as I said. Once you enter in the testing center, they pass the scanners, they check everything. They check, you can't take anything inside of the testing center. I remember even they give you a cup of water. They give you a cup of water and everything is on the computer. You can have a small, they give you this one pen and paper that is there, and if you want to bring something, they will check it out. No phones, no jacket. It was quite cold, I remember. The test itself, I would make a separate video comparing CCHI test to MBCMI, but I will tell you, yes, include codes of ethics, best practice, best protocol, medical terminology, of course, a lot of questions. There was this part of the test that I remember that I didn't understand, that include symbols that are in the emergency room in the hospital, which nobody told me that they're gonna test us about that. I didn't even imagine. I remember that there is a part in the CCHI written exam that asks you what this symbol means. I don't remember, but I know that it was for these radiation symbols, the ones that you could see in the x-ray rooms. So I'm advising you, if you are gonna take the test, study those, because I didn't know and I didn't study them, and there was quite a few questions about that, maybe 3 or 4, and I was like, what is that? What is these people talking about? I completely didn't understand what they mean. And there also were 1% of this question. I feel like a CCHI wanted to fool and make it more than MBCMI for some reason, or make it, there was questions that had nothing to do with medical interpreting. There was questions, not nothing to do, but really, there was a questions asking you which food is more caloric. Well, so me, that I come from 40 hours of a medical interpreting, studying all these medical things, having this type of question was a little bit odd to me. There was several questions that, in my opinion, was just to come just like this. I didn't understand them, but the same thing happened to MBCMI testing that I just did now. So just be ready. There is always going to be 10% of those questions that you're not going to understand what they're doing in this test and why they're there. This is same thing I noticed in CCHI and MBCMI, the same thing. So said that, I remember that I was so tired reading those and being careful. I was having no papers in America. I was having through a lot of things. So I just said, okay, did it. And I did pass. My score was 459 when the passing score was 450. And the total score is 600 for all these questions. I don't know how they scored it, but I know that I did pass it. And this is how I get the certification. Yes, they did send me a certification. You can see the picture on it. 2017, the certification is now expired. It's not like it matters, but while I was taking the test for MBCMI, I was thinking that I really don't care having those certifications anymore, because they don't mean much to me. It's like kind of to continue to have to prove to someone that you speak a language, or that you have read best practice, best protocols. I kind of find all these things useless for myself, for where I am right now in life. But I will tell you that once you get the core, once I get this test, even Siracom raised my rate. And as you know, Siracom were kind of cheap on that matter. But anyway, said that, that was my experience with taking, with registering and taking the test. The responding time is endless. If I can give advice right now, that they have the website well organized, you can very easily manage to understand how the process works. Yes, the 40 hours of a medical interpreter training is obligatory. You do need it in order to have this core certification. Now it's at $275 with $40 not refundable fee. Compared to 2017, they raised the prices. You understand this is a business, of course, and yes, I am imagining they're gonna raise it even more with time. But I don't have interest in renewing the certification anymore, because it doesn't mean anything to me, so I'm gonna leave that part to you. But if I can give you an advice, do read the website. Right now the website is well organized, and I also noticed something that it was not available 2017. Now, thanks to COVID, we do have testing that you can do from your home online. Something that MBCMI do as well. So I believe this is even more easy and more reachable to you guys. If you want to get the certification, the core, that is English test, you can do, and this is how it works. The website is clear. I recommend you now to check it. They got better on that part. If you want to do the core exam, not the core, so-called CMI, which is going to be a language specific interpreting, they had three type of languages. I believe you can test in 3 languages. And normally when you do those tests in these 3 languages, you don't have to renew the process. But you guys understand that this is a business. This company, CCHI, do money through making you paying the renewal of your certification, which is just money. So if you want to know exactly how it's like to renew, you can go ahead and click on my video, what it takes to renew the CCHI Core, which was my experience. Again, the responding time in 2022, it was last year in November 2021. Very long, very redundant, very treating you like you're not bad, poor. The communication is still poor, to the point that this to the renewal process, I actually wrote my honest review on their Facebook page, and only then somebody acknowledged me with a response. Not only, but when I complain, Miss Natalia Maitreeva respond to me with very offended email, telling me that I am trying to offend her, instead of actually acknowledging that I had a bad experience, where somebody was ignoring me, where somebody wasn't responding to me, where I sent so many emails that I was frustrated because nobody was responding to me. And the second not so good part that I noticed, even if you have a trainings, like for example this one, HIPAA. This training, I believe it's pretty good, and I don't see a reason why they would not accept it. As many similar training to this one that some of my clients provided to me, which were legitimate trainings for core of ethics and similar, or for example HIPAA, simply I was not paying to CCHI or their chain of business colleagues that was selling those training, and because they were not through that chain, they refused to accept it. So I had to follow their links to purchase exactly the same training like I did. Trainings that I already did like 5 times. I had 5 clients, I did 5 HIPAA trainings, and now that I wanted to renew my CCHI, I had to pay again for another HIPAA training because they were refusing to accept those. I don't like that part. I don't understand why this is like that, but as I am repeating, there is a business behind this organization, and this, I'm guessing this is why the renewal process is so redundant. But yes, that's how to get this certification. I would leave their website below. Now it's organized well. You can go ahead, create your profile, register there, pay the fee, and now, thanks to COVID, you can also do the test online. Said that, one last thing I want to add, the renewing, actually, I was surprised. I was thinking that when they make me renew my certification, because the certification lasts 4 years, right? So I was believing that they're gonna retest me. For my surprise, I paid $300, but I was not tested again. I only had to purchase about $1,000, I believe, more or less how much I spent, to purchase the same trainings that I did, but to purchase them through them, CCHI or these links that they send you. There is some different. I had to purchase the same trainings that I had, but just purchase them and do the trainings and do the test in the end in order to prove to CCHI that I actually had them. They did not make me retake the test. Once you pass the test, the renewal process is just money. You're like some kind of a milk, you know, they say they milk you. This is literally what CCHI does to you. Once you do certify, they do that to you. They ask you to continue paying them every 4 years. Now it's $300. But I remember back then in 2017, they had a Russian language for the CMI, whatever it's called. They took it off. And I believe they took it off because they need you to recertify to do the money. But said that if you do want to look more professional and get better money, you can do this certification. I hope you guys have a better experience. I hope to you they respond with shorter period of time. That was my experience. I personally did not enjoy this process. Now that I do the MBCMI, I will tell you I personally prefer MBCMI, the way they treated me. I'm gonna create a special video for that, which is gonna be another topic. I personally prefer MBCMI, but except to you, you can choose. That was my experience, the core. Just remember, before you do the core, you have to have 40 or 60 or 70 hours of a medical interpreter training. And this is the link where I share, I did my 40 hours with Asian Pacific Center, Denver Community College. Thank you guys for being here. I hope this video was useful. Have a good day. Bye-bye.